everyone, this is the All Atlantic Talks podcast. My name is Mariana, and I'm a former All Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassador. The All Atlantic podcast fosters the engagement of stakeholders, joint pilot actions, and youth ambassadors of the All Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance. This podcast is coordinated by the Brazilian National Council of State Funding Agencies, the Brazilian National Council for Scientific and Technological Development, in the Brazilian Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, and is under the UNCOR project that is supported by the European Commission. So, in this interconnected world, we are working for the development of new value systems and enriching our global community with deep knowledge and a shared vision of a future where the ocean rightfully takes the center stage. Our commitment serves as a resounding call to action, inviting collaboration and promoting intergenerational exchange to protect the ocean for generations to come. Today, we kick off a series of special episodes on intergenerational dialogues, an initiative of the All Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance, a program of the European Commission. And we have very special guests to have this very interesting conversation with us today. So I would like to welcome Jonathan Heimer from the German Marine Research Consortium. Welcome, Jonathan.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, my name's Jonathan. I'm a graduate student from Germany working on ocean scenarios and pathways, and I'm associated with the German Marine Research Consortium.
Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you. I would like to introduce also Eva Lambert from the University of Galway. Welcome, Eva.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Galway. I'm working in marine ecology in regards to tidal energy.
And also Tara Kent from the Marine Institute in Newport. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you very much. My name's Tara. I just finished up my undergrad at Trinity, and I'll be doing a master's in coastal and marine management at UCC starting September. Yeah, thank you again.
Super nice. Thank you for being here with us. As an Atlantic community, trying to merge this potential of youth and the wisdom of decades of experience in research in the Atlantic region, and I'm sure you are all very into this context. I have a question for you all. How might the intergenerational dialogues between ocean researchers and also between decision makers influence the long-term outcomes of ocean conservation efforts?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think it's a great chance to unite the efforts of young researchers with the experience of ocean experts, especially to secure the sustainability of conservation efforts across different generations, and hence the exchange of best practices and idea that they are communicated beyond the borders of different generations. We secure that we carry on with our conservation plans and ideas, forms of management, etc.
Yeah, I view it in a kind of similar perspective to Jonathan, but more the angle that I would take on it is like, as much as we talk about people in like generalized grouping, like quote unquote, like an old guard and a new guard, when it comes down to it, we are like each individuals with our own motivations and our own experiences. And through intergenerational dialogue, I see the opportunity for like those two quote unquote guards to get to know each other on more of a personal and professional level, which as we move into the field of ocean conservation would just increase the dialogue and easier prepare the transition between those two generations to make sure that like the current projects we're working on continue on in the future, and we can also begin to integrate our own projects into the current ones and just like create a seamless transition as stuff moves on.
In the end, it's all about people, right? And how we can connect ourselves with the other ones and merge our interests and also our initiatives.
Yeah, I very agree with my colleagues as well. I think as early career ocean professionals, really see the importance of the opportunities for us as young people to communicate about science and effort with, let's say, the older generation. I think there is a profound impact on the long-term outcomes for ocean conservation efforts. The exchange of ideas and perspectives between the young people and the leaders can lead to mutual learning and understanding, young people have really fresh outlook and innovative thinking, so that can bring the novel ideas and the cutting edge research to the table, but also the experienced practitioners have very valuable insights based on historical context and decades of experience. So I think through those dialogues, the decision makers and the important people can get a better understanding of the current challenges and opportunities in different fields. As Tara said, we all have different fields and different insights. So it can make more informed decisions that can align with both scientific advancements and the need for future generations.
All the elements that you mentioned are very important in this pursuit of sustainable use of ocean resources and the ocean space in general. What are some possible challenges that could emerge when collaborating across disciplines and cultures and nations? How do you see these challenges of collaboration in the sustainable use of ocean resources?
Yeah, thank you. Referring to Ava, I think yeah, it's mostly chance, all these different insights to bring them together. And I think in the recent years, we made a lot of effort to collect the knowledge that has not been available before from different communities, different cultures, indigenous knowledge. But with such different insights, there's also the challenge to find a common language, I think, especially when you work inter or transdisciplinary. You have these multiple experts and you need to get them all on the table and find a common language so that the exchange between them can happen and everyone profits from all the different knowledge, different disciplines.
I would see across like disciplines and cultures and nations, for example, would be like preconceived notions and also like hyper-focused perspectives. For example, I grew up in America and went to university in Ireland. Those are two countries in a relatively culturally similar area of the global north. Therefore, my education upbringing would only really reflect views and knowledge available in the global north, and therefore priorities that I would personally consider to be more pertinent would be those relevant to the global north, not the global south. So, for example, like if I were then to engage in dialogue with someone from the global north, even if both our issues were relevant and necessary to the greater health of the ocean, I may bring up like erosion as something that the entire world would need to focus on combating, and someone from the global south may bring up like the warmings of the oceans and like overfishing. Not to say that those aren't issues in the global north as well, but it's more a matter of perspective and how people just have a tendency to view their issues as the quote unquote more important. To combat that, we just need further dialogue and further education. We need really globalize the research community so that we wouldn't think of ourselves as broken up into the different sections, but just recognize like we all live on this planet. We need to deal with it together.
Yes, and this is not easy, but it's very necessary to match and also to be humble about the other perspectives that other countries, other researchers, other decision makers, other point of views of the world.
Yes, I completely agree with my two colleagues. Again, coming back to what Jonathan said, I think collaborating across disciplines, cultures, and nations, one of the major obstacles is the communication gap and also the cultural differences. As Tara said, I also grew up in a different country that I am living in at the moment. I was born in France. I used to study in Norway, Spain, and Italy, and now I'm living in Ireland. I can really see that cultural differences can really influence the perspectives. Different communities may have a unique relationship with the ocean and conflicted values and priorities that are completely different with what we could envision. I think those challenging, they really require a culture of mutual respect, inclusivity, and the key here to all those challenges is open dialogue. And I think conferences and events like we just have participated to is reuniting the people in order to communicate. And as Tara really well said, we all live at the same place. We all share one ocean. We should all work together in protecting it. And even though we may face some barriers like geopolitical barriers or trade interests, regulatory frameworks, we have to do and make a commitment to a shared goal and a focused and common interest, just for the sake of ocean sustainability.
Thank you very much. It's very inspiring listening to you, and this is very respectful and a very nice way to put the power of youth and what we can offer to this intergenerational dialogue that is also intersectional of different topics and different things that we have to take into consideration when we are discussing the ocean for the future generations. So thank you very much for your answers. And since you were all also involved in the discussion of seabed mapping in ocean observing in this context of intergenerational dialogues, how can high-resolution seabed mapping help us to understand marine ecosystems and biodiversity and benefit from this collaborative approach, from these collaborative research initiatives as the All Atlantic Ocean Research and Innovation Alliance?
Thank you. What my colleagues and I focused on the upcoming issue in the recent years of seabed mining. And we think there's a huge need for more seabed data, for high resolution data, to better understand the effects that this mining has, but also to know what is down there. We already have all these efforts also from the Atlantic community, like the International Working Group of seabed mapping, but there are still huge gaps where we don't know what is down there, what ecosystems are there, and I think there's a huge need to fill these gaps and help decision makers to better understand what they are dealing with and what they could potentially destroy, or also what are the services by, for example, healthy deep sea coral ecosystems, which provide a lot of marine genetic resources or potential for pharmaceutical research. So I think we're doing a lot, but there are still huge gaps. And as we are working with most of the time the high seas, we need collaboration. There's just no chance for one nation or one organization to do it alone. We need to collaborate across different countries, different continents, and work together to fill these gaps.
I completely agree with you, especially as this territory of commons, like a benefit of the humankind to have this space and the resources in is shared. We have shared benefits and also shared interests, and this challenge to understand how to deal with this issue that is very difficult to see because we are not there at the high seas all the time, and we cannot see the influences very quickly as we see in the coastal zone. So I agree with you, very, very complicated, but I think we are trying to fill those gaps, and I'm happy that you are very involved in this research and discussion.
This is a topic I'm incredibly interested in. I'm fingers crossed, hoping to do my master thesis on something involving seabed mapping or GIS or something along those lines. The benefits and understandings that can come from providing high-resolution seabed mappings of the ocean, the benefits are near infinite, really, because the thing is, and an often cited phrase, is that like we have higher resolution and more complete maps of the moon than we do of our own ocean floor. We really don't understand what is down there, and if we can't understand it, then we can't even begin to know how to protect it. And while there are currently seabed mapping efforts underway, the thing is that like one country or even like one grouping of like the quote unquote like All Atlantic Commission, they can't map the entire ocean floor by themselves. That is simply an impossible effort. Like if we are to be like getting high resolution maps of the entire ocean floor, then it needs to be a global topic. And kind of furthering that, it was mentioned by one of our moderators that some countries don't allow seabed mappings in their waters due to like economic or security concerns, which kind of to me just highlights how necessary it is that every single country be involved in these efforts, because like we need the maps, we need to understand what's down there, because not understanding it doesn't protect it from exploitation. For example, one thing that we focused on in our presentation was the referendum of an upcoming ISA resolution that is currently prohibiting deep sea mining. Luckily enough, that referendum came and went. They've kind of put a stay of execution on the ocean floor until 2025, I believe. But that doesn't mean that there aren't currently actors in the deep sea either actively mining or mapping out the areas to mine them. And if those areas are mined, then like the destruction is simply irreparable, and we wouldn't even know what we'd lost. We don't know what pharmaceutical benefits are down there. We don't know enough about it, and we need to. We need to know our planet.
I agree with you, and how much knowledge is very related to power and how we use this power to influence decisions and to contribute to this collaborative effort.
This was one of the biggest questions that we discussed on, because I think we were focused on the conservation of our ocean. We were really interested in conserving what we have, stop harming the ocean, and stop harming the seabed, because seabed mining is a huge threat to the actual ecosystem. But at some point, we also had to be realistic and ask the proper question is, how can these efforts to seabed mapping, how can this benefit both the scientists, the people who want to know more about what's out there, and also the community, the economic side of things, and the companies? Because if we have to be realistic, we also have to have an economy for this. We need a budget to be out there and map the ocean. And as Tara brilliantly said, not one entity can map the whole ocean. It's a really big effort. Although it needs to be done, we need a way to be able to do it. So this was a huge question. And even though we really want to do this to facilitate the identification of new species and the study of species distribution, population dynamics, we also need to be able to make informed decisions about sustainable resource and habitat restorations. We need collaboration to have a better understanding of the global ocean processes. Ultimately, I think the high-resolution seabed mapping can empower scientists, decision makers, stakeholders to make informed choices that both promote the health and resilience of marine ecosystem, but also contributes to the sustainable management of ocean resources for present and future generations.
The seabed mapping and the seabed mining and ocean observing, those topics are evidences that we need intersectoral and intergenerational dialogues to build this collaborative effort, and maybe to balance power and interests and knowledge and make something better and interesting for the next generations. Thank you very much for this very interesting conversation. It was great hearing you, and thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think it's great that we see such formats and that we have those opportunities to talk across generations and to give our opinion, our feedback, our expertise, to contribute. Yeah, I hope we carry on to talk across different cultures, disciplines, and different generations.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I wanted to thank you very much for having us on your podcast. I appreciate it very much, and it's a really cool experience. Something that I would highly recommend is a book called The Brilliant Abyss by Helen Scales, because the thing about the ocean is that beyond talking about statistics, beyond looking at it from a quote-unquote cold or scientific point of view, beyond just looking at it from a distant perspective, there are amazing things in the ocean. Like siphonophores are so cool, and just I'd highly recommend that anyone look into the ocean, like see how much there is to love, and see like what we're trying to protect here, like see what we're working on, because it's just so cool. I highly recommend like the ocean to anyone, and I'm incredibly lucky in where I am, and I'm just starting out my career. It's really cool. Look into it.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for the recommendation. And it's very inspiring to see these powerful feelings that the ocean can give us. Thank you so much.
Yes, I just want to thank you for having us to your podcast. It's a great opportunity, and I think it's very important for young people to have their voices heard. It's really important, I think. I would also really recommend to follow Tara's advice. Just looking at what's out there, the ocean is magnificent, and we cannot even comprehend how many different species out there. And I'm pretty sure we've not discovered all of them yet. I think last word would just be that collaboration is the key. We need more discussion and we need to bring people together because this is the only way we can save our ocean and our planet. Thank you again very much, Mariana. It was really great.
I'm honored to have this conversation with you. Thank you very much. And to our audience, you can listen to all the episodes of the All Atlantic Talks, including the first season, on YouTube and Spotify or at allatlanticocean.org. And thank you very much, and see you soon.